My first class traumatized me. I had over-prepared for the class. I had 12 pages of notes that I thought I somehow had to get through, and I got through about 2 pages. I walked out of that class thinking I can never be a good teacher. What changed was the fact that I decided that my job is not to offer maximum coverage to students. It is to tell them a few key stories, link those stories to their present lives, and do so in a way that's compelling and interesting for them.
I remember coming into a classroom that had 150 students in it ready to study war. 2 students in particular stand out. One was a kid who always sat in the middle row in the middle seat and never took a single page of notes. And when I challenged him about this, he said, "Oh, I have perfect audio recall." It was just clear that he had taken up every word I'd ever said. The other was a very quiet student who came to office hours, had not spoken in class before, and asked me a single question at the end of office hours. She asked very quietly, "Is war necessary?" It was just an incredibly good question with no answer whatsoever, which is the hallmark of a good question. And it taught me a tremendous amount of respect for Berkeley students.
First class I taught solo was a graduate seminar, and one of the students was taking notes, and I had a moment where I thought to myself, wow, someone's actually taking my notes. And so I was flattered. At the end of the class, I saw the guy's notes, and they had nothing to do with my class, actually. I don't know what they were doing. It looked like quantum field theory to me.
Now, why didn't they correct him? Why didn't they say, no? I tend to lecture Socratically, asking them questions, getting them to answer. But in order to achieve that, students have to feel comfortable. Students have to feel invested. And I think most importantly, students have to trust me. Eventually, I do try to get students to the point where they're used to hearing their own voices and they're participating in class discussions and learning with me. And this is, I think, the most important thing about my classes. I am learning with my students.
I've used teaching to learn about different subjects. That's enabled me to improve my research and take it in directions that I wasn't formerly able to. So it equips me to move in new research directions.
There have been many memorable moments in my teaching career. One of my favorites came at the end of a very large disarmament simulation exercise for which I had invited a former US ambassador to campus. He was so impressed that he invited 2 of those students to join him on a trip to New York to participate in United Nations deliberations about nuclear weapons. And one of the students chosen was the first in his family to ever go to college, spoke English as a second language, was moved to tears by the fact that his peers had chosen him to represent the entire class. And I approached him afterwards and I said, "Have you never been to New York?" And he said, "Professor Hassner, I've never been on an airplane."
One of the classes I'm offering this semester is on sensory histories, a theme that I'm learning even as I'm reading 8 or 10 books with my students. You know, it keeps me fresh, it keeps my research agendas moving forward, but at the same time, I feel that I'm really contributing in ways to the university and to the curriculum of this university by stepping out, stepping beyond my safe zone.
Based on one argument, terrorism represents the broad grievances. In my class on war, I often have veterans or people in the ROTC program who can talk about their own experiences in ways that I could never do. In my class on religion, I have people who are members of religious faith groups who bring to the table experiences and interactions and knowledge that I could never aspire to. And so they teach me a lot.
I'm always surprised by Cal students, just how engaged, how incredibly exciting they are, and it's one of the most stimulating parts of my job.
For the part where you solved for d shouldn't it be to the negative 1/2 power?
Berkeley students are masters at challenging their instructors. Getting feedback from students has been incredibly useful in shaping the way I teach. So my role is not so much to cram facts into people's minds. My job is really to act more as a facilitator.
I think when students begin to think about a world that is lots of shades of gray, it brings a certain degree of empathy. And I see my role as a teacher as someone who complicates the narrative, makes it messier.
I can remember sitting where the students are sitting and the instructor trying, I'm sure they had good intentions, but unfortunately failing to teach this particular student. I did not get it. And I remember the incredible frustration I felt. And that's why I care, because I don't want that experience for others.